Welcome to today's 2024 LendingCon podcast for everything investment, development, and hospitality related. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Jim. We're thrilled to be your guide through the LendingCon world with thought-provoking leaders in those areas. You'll see financial, investment, and hospitality experts and hear what to expect from them in August.
Whether you're a seasoned hotelier or just getting into the hotel industry, you can't afford to miss this meeting with LendingCon professionals.
This podcast is intended to let you hear about all the latest trends, strategies, and innovations in the lending world. Make your plans to attend LendingCon in 2024 in Orlando.
This is a 2-day inspirational event. It was created to bring together with and allow you to network and learn from industry experts, thought leaders, and innovators.
So join us on August 7th and 8th as we explore the future of lending and development at LendingCon in Orlando, Florida at the Rosen Center on iDrive.
But stay tuned for today's guest, an exclusive LendingCon interview with Ms. Ann Hartshorn, founder and managing principal of CPACE Lending.
Don't miss out. Stay tuned for our interview and reserve your spot at LendingCon.com.
This podcast brought to you by IHRMC, the go-to hospitality management company in Orlando, Florida, and the power behind LendingCon 2024. And welcome back. We have Ms. Ann with us from CPACE Financing that she's been doing for quite a little while. Ann, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Dan. How about you guys?
Doing pretty good for being in Florida. It hasn't rained yet today, so hopefully it won't rain yet, but who knows? It is Florida.
Yep, you guys are are you guys dealing with the hurricane that's coming out your way? Is it Bertha or I think
I'm not even sure what it is. Yeah, it's we get tropical storms all the time. Here in Orlando, we don't necessarily get hit by hurricanes quite as bad as like the coast do, but the coast get hit usually pretty bad sometimes. So usually by the time it gets here to Central Florida, it's toned down a little bit.
It's been over land long enough.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about what CPACE is and how it works and kind of how you operate in and around the lending world.
Yeah, so who we are is we're experts in CPACE financing. We've been doing PACE financing since 2013. So what CPACE really is, it stands for Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy. And it's really a financing mechanism that pays for everything that's energy efficient, water efficient, renewable, and resiliency. And you pay us back on that financing mechanism on your property tax bill as a special assessment. That's why the name is actually called Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy. So we really give you a opportunity to do new construction, renovations on hotels, and really any asset type that's out there, commercial asset type that's out there. So we help facilitate the financing along with working with the program administrators that are in your local area. PACE is one of those things, or it's actually legislation. And back in 2017, during the Obama administration, inside of the Climate Action Plan, they created legislation called PACE. And that PACE is, like I said, a financing mechanism that pays for everything that's energy efficient, water efficient, renewable, and resiliency. So the way PACE really works is because it's legislation on a state level, the state that you're in will have to approve the legislation PACE. Once the state approves the legislation PACE, that allows any city or county to develop the CPACE program. Now, the city or the county can administrate the program themselves, or they can hire a third-party program administrator. That being said, though, the city, the county, the state, or the government aren't coming to the table with any money. We call that a public-private partnership, meaning the city is the public portion of it, and the private portion of it is where the money is actually coming from. So the money can be like institutional money, it could be bank money, it could be private investments, it could be private money. So it's really a public-private partnership. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure I got that clear that the state or the city or the federal government aren't contributing any funds to CPACE. It's just that they created the legislation for it to be available.
So it's a public entity that provides the money for it, correct?
Let me just rephrase that. So the public-private partnership is this. The private partnership is where the money's coming from. The public partnership is because the city has to either opt into a program or develop their own CPACE program. So that's where the public-private partnership comes from, meaning that the city doesn't provide the money. The money's coming from private funds. Like I said, either Wall Street, banks, private money, like private funds. Like you can actually be a private investor, invest only in CPACE money.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what type of financing then is offered? I mean, how are sure there's regulations on the terms and so forth?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the types of financing they offer are for everything, like I said, that's new construction, anything that's a renovation, and what they call retroactive, meaning if you've already done a new construction project or you've already done a renovation, you can go get a retroactive financing. So we can give you a CPACE financing for items that you've already done or projects that you already done. The terms are usually it usually depends on what the weighted average life of the product that's being installed. So to simplify that, it would be anywhere between 20, 25, and 30-year terms.
Okay, so what are the benefits of that then?
So I would say this, some of the benefits of CPACE financing is that we're going to be able to fill in your capital stack where there may be some lack. And the lack could come from you're not getting a high enough loan amount from your construction loan, or you're not getting, or you don't have enough equity to put into the project. So we're going to come in and we're going to fill in your capital stack and fill in any gap that you may have. So that's one of the benefits. Another benefit is that there are no payments for 2 years. So you get 2 years of no payments. We capitalize the interest and we add that to the loan amount. That creates the no payments for 2 years. A couple other benefits is that it's transferable. So if they ever go to sell the property, the CPACE loan can transfer to the new property owner because it sits on your property tax bill as a special assessment. And I think another big benefit to the client is that it's non-recourse. So it is a non-recourse loan. And in some states, if the state allows it, we can also do another 2 to 3 to 5 year interest only, or until it actually stabilizes as far as an interest rate goes. So you can possibly you'll get the first 2 years of no payments. And then after your first 2 years of no payments, depending on the city or the state, if they allow us, we can give you another interest only up to 5 years or up to stabilization. And then after that, it'll convert over to a regular amortized 30-year fixed loan.
And you mentioned a while ago that it can be used for renovations as well as new build. If I have a property and I've already done my renovation, would CPACE be able to come back in and reimburse me, or does it have to be implemented prior to the renovation in order to get the fund?
Okay, that's a great question. So that's where the retroactive comes into place. Because you already completed your renovation, we're going to give you a retroactive loan based off of what you did, based off of whatever's CPACE eligible in your renovation. So for example, let's just say you do a $10 million renovation and $7 million of that CPACE eligible, you can get a retroactive loan for $7 million of that eligibility. And you can also use retroactive at any point. Let's say you're halfway through a new construction project or you're halfway through a renovation project and you ran out of funds, cost of construction has gone up, you had change orders and you need some to fill that gap. We'll give you a hybrid loan. We'll give you a retroactive for what you already did, and then we'll complete it with whatever's left. So you'll have a retroactive loan, and then you'll have we'll give you the rest of the money to complete the project.
So it could be used say if I paid 5 or 6 million of that was out of my own pocket, and then you retroactive the thing, would I just be able to reimburse my own bank account, or would it have to be specifically for the project?
Well, you've already paid for it. Let's just say you just said you paid 5, 6, 7 million out of your own pocket, so that would go directly towards you. Yeah. So
Okay.
it would be reimbursed to you. Now,
Yeah.
what you want to do with that reimbursement is really your decision. We're giving you a loan based off of what you already did that qualified, so you get to decide.
Gotcha.
So
So if
I
you want to,
reimbursed it, but I still got to make payments now on the
On whatever
loan. Yeah.
the rest of the loan.
that's
Okay,
correct. So I mean, it
that's
just gives you retroactive gives you an opportunity. How we see this is you can do retroactive to get capital to reinvest on another project. We see people utilizing retroactive, using RC PACE dollars, maybe to pay down their senior. If they choose to pay down their senior may require that. So that's how we typically we see people using retroactive. But we mean the only state that requires that you pay the only state that requires that you pay off an actual lender is typically the state of Ohio.
Gotcha.
Like I said, because it's legislation, it's dictated by whatever that state's legislation's guidelines are. You know, they're somewhat the same. They run somewhat the same. However, they're not always the exact same. So it's very dynamic.
And those state legislatures, I assume, also dictate what is clean energy, what is financeable, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So what we do is we do an energy report, and that energy report is going to dictate how much of your project is PACE eligible, what the weighted average life of the product is, what your savings to an investment ratio is. So we do an energy report based off what the legislation dictates, what is eligible and what's not eligible. So recently we just had the state of Hawaii get approved, and so the whole state of Hawaii is approved. So if you have a property anywhere in the state of, which is huge, that's huge. That was a big win for them. We worked with the program administrator to make sure that that happened. But for us, what we're excited about is that it gives a lot of people the opportunity in Hawaii that they didn't have before, especially with the fires in Maui. Now they can access financing to be able to rebuild.
So to help rebuild the state is important. Yeah.
And I think another big thing in Hawaii's legislation, which we don't see this typically everywhere. I mean, it's actually Hawaii is the only state that they wrote this into their legislation, was that HOAs can qualify. Meaning, if they own because we're commercial, right? So their legislation allows for the HOA to be the borrower, and then that way they can assign the assessment amount to each condo owner, which is huge. No other state's doing that. So they have about 86% of their condos that were built there that need upgrades, need renovations. And this is just a bigger opportunity, opens up the opportunity for them to utilize CPACE as the mechanism to do that.
And that
Opposed to getting to like high cost mezzanine loan, right? So it just opens up their opportunity of financing.
So that means that CPACE isn't necessarily just for hotels; it's for any developer, any project. Then
CPACE is opened up for any commercial property, right? But in any commercial property, it's available for, right? So it doesn't have to be hotels. It can be office. It could be multifamily. It could be student housing. It could be senior living. It could be shopping centers. But what we're saying is what Hawaii did was something very specific in their legislation, because usually HOAs are attached to residential condos, right? And we don't do residential PACE. We do commercial PACE. So what the legislation allowed it to happen was that the loan would be given to the actual homeowners association. And that's how they went around. That's how they got around the residential portion. And then the homeowners association will then dictate how much assessment needs to be applied to each of the condos.
yeah, exactly, because HOA is considered a commercial entity because all those people that are there, but they're part of this commercial entity that's there. Wow, that explains why a lot of the developers and hotel owners are really excited about it.
I think this too, like if to go back to what we were just talking about, CPACE, if the city allows it or the state allows it, if they are building a hotel and a hotel condo, let's say for ownership, we
Mhm.
will allow the commercial loan, a CPACE loan, to go to the build of a residential property. But at the time of them selling that residential property, like a condotel, basically, as they sell each of those condos, that assessment amount needs to be paid off at the time of sale. So there's an opportunity for that to happen on a construction level, a construction loan, even though it's going to be sold off into an individual condo. It only happens at the time of construction, right? So if the state allows us to do that, we will do it. But once they sell that condo to an individual, that now becomes a residential property, then we no longer can be on that as an assessment. We need to get paid off.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
So what are the expectations as a hotel owner or a new investor? What can I expect to be a speed bump on the road? What kind of hurdles do you expect that?
I would say, in the CPACE world, our biggest, if we had our biggest holdback is that because we sit on the property tax bill as a special assessment, we're required to get consent from whoever that senior is. So if a senior lender isn't familiar with how CPACE works, there could be a little bit of a an educational period where we go in there and we educate them how it works. We educate them, let them know what the benefits are to them specifically, and try to mitigate any concerns or risks that they may have on their part, as far as any concerns they may have about the hotel owner or developer making that CPACE payment. Because essentially, because we sit on the property tax bill as a special assessment, we are before the senior, just like all your other property taxes are, just like every other itemized property tax, any other assessment you have on your property. Think about your own personal residential property, all those line items that show what you're paying besides your velour property tax. If you're paying, water district, or if you're living in a new subdivision and you're paying a Melrose, or you're paying another special assessment for mosquito spray in your area, we're going to be sitting right along with all those other assessments. And all those other assessments are senior as well are senior in a senior position to the senior loan lender as well. So that would probably be our biggest hurdle, is to have a lender understand the functionality of CPACE and have them get comfortable with it.
Yeah, well, I'm saying the way you've educated me is it's probably not difficult to explain. So it's a pretty straightforward program.
Very straightforward. Very straightforward. So, I mean, for senior lenders, for them to understand, we've got a legal opinion based off of why they should consent. So we do have third party legal opinion for the lenders to help them understand why they should consent to CPACE.
Right,
And I think right now too, is where we're at in the lending world, CPACE is just a creative way to get that capital stack built. Number one. Right. Number two, it also can lower the average cost to borrow, so the average cost of capital. So if on a new construction loan, what we're seeing right now is new construction loans are anywhere between 10, 11, 12, 13%. Especially if you go for a debt fund. So CPACE is sitting right in the 8s. So if you can understand, if you're having a 10% construction loan and you're bringing in CPACE money in it just drops at 8%. It just drops the overall cost of capital.
I can get that money at a lower percentage. That makes a lot of sense.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so if someone, and I'm sure we've kind of hit the tip of the iceberg here, I'm sure there's much more that we just can't get into for a period of time and then education, but if somebody wants to learn more about it, where should they be able to book time with you?
I would say, the best place to book a time is CPACELending.com. It's really just spelt and exactly how it sounds, CPACELending.com. I would go on there and just schedule a time, be more than happy to do a presentation or be more than happy to talk to your senior lender.
Great. And also at LendingCon, I guess they can meet with you at LendingCon as well, correct?
That's correct. And if they want to book a time with me on LendingCon, they can go to cpacelending.com and just book a time right there at LendingCon.
Great. You can have access to the Lenders Lounge that we have there. So other than booking a time with you at LendingCon, why would you encourage people to attend LendingCon? And once they get there, what can they expect from meeting with you?
I think why I would encourage people to come to LendingCon is I think that we're in the lending environment that we're in right now. Every opportunity and meeting and building relationships with lenders out there is so important. And it gives you one spot to go to get educated on what's realistic, what you should expect. So that's one reason I would go to LendingCon. Again, and it's also just to build relationships, build connections, referrals, meet other hotel owners or other commercial owners that may be looking to buy or sell. So those are opportunities that they'll be able to find at LendingCon. I think at LendingCon also, they'll also be able to see other things that are available to them as hotel owners and commercial owners, like whatever tax benefits that are available to them. So on new construction and renovations, there could be some tax benefits that are available to them that they may not know about. So we'll be able to share that information with them at LendingCon as well.
Great. Well, we look forward to having you and your team here with us in August 7th and 8th at the Rosen Center downtown or I Drive. Excited to have you here and look forward to seeing you then.
Okay, great. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you so much. Final word, Miss Ann. Anything in parting word?
Go out and vote.
All right. Sounds like a game plan. Thank you, ma'am. You have a good afternoon, okay?
Dan.
Great. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.